Hey everyone. Let's make sure this stream is actually going and going correctly here. Yes, stream is up. Why am I still unable to spectate here? There we go. So we have the formation lap for the second part of the 6 hours of Le Mans here. This is another 2-hour stint. There have been some changes, and what I'll do is I'll actually wait until more people have joined and I'll read them out loud so that people know what's up, what's new, what are the rules since our little hiccup starting the first stint of the race. We had a pretty fun first stint. Couple of hiccups before the race, of course, and more on the track between drivers, but that's to be expected. It's a race, and it's a race with lots of cars on the same track, so it's to be expected that there will be incidents and the like. Nissan GTR pace car. I think it's really awesome that we have pace cars in this game. And they're fun to race in. It's been a while, but I haven't put together a pace car lobby in a while, but they are fun. You know, why don't we take a look at our starting order here. You should have everybody here in the correct order. So first, our pace car drivers, Chompy, we have Rodrigo in for Phoenix 7 Racing, Bill Bader in for AMS, Cooper in for TX3, getting some warmth into those tires there. Nick is in for the second stint on ERM. Crispy Boy is in 6th place. I'm actually not sure who Crispy Boy is racing for. I accidentally closed Discord on my phone, and so I no longer have the roster up. Let's see if I can find out who Crispy Boy is racing for. Doesn't look like Crispy Boy is on the original roster, so not really sure. I don't see a team name on this liver, or did I? I see the ESGT logo, PFR, I don't know who that is. So in any case, CSX, you got Racer Tay in there. Marcel for MRT. Is Marcel racing for the team or just on their own though? Gonna need an updated roster. In 9th, you got Team ERS, Bad Guy Cali jumping in for them. In 10th, Bizzle 5. 11th, I don't know how to say that. We'll call him 135. John in 12th for, who was the team in the Nissan? Hi, I think. I don't know if I say that correctly. Hi or HY. He's racing for PPR. Okay, so PPR was the name of the race. All right. What's up, Timothy? Super Chicken. Got Alpha Cypher in 13th. Unfortunately, just starting from the back after that first stint. So this is our order. What you're seeing here is a formation lap. Drivers are currently up behind the pace car here. They have to do a lap around and pit. It's the only way for the race steward to start the lap. To start the race with the correct time gaps from the first stint of the race. So what happened is the stewards took the order of the driver's finish in that first stint that we just had a few minutes ago, and recorded the gaps between the cars, and what they'll do is they'll release them from the pits in the order and with the right gaps from the first stint. And you'll start seeing that in the chat. They'll let you know which team can go and when, and that'll start our second stint. See the cars here starting with no fuel or very little fuel in the tank. They're gonna fuel up in the pits. And then we'll get it going. Way to go, Ocelot. getting a report that a racer was stuck. I don't think I saw anyone still standing on the line. There's no car on the map still sitting in the line, so I wonder if they exited the race. But someone's stuck. Joey. I don't know what Joey's PSN name is, but Joey is stuck. Drivers are now entering the pit. Bit of an interesting look here as everybody lines up to go through. What I didn't realize, and what I'm guessing is the situation here, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, is that instead of actually starting from the pits, they simply receive a time when they're allowed to enter the pits. Chompy, our race host and steward, just put 7 minutes 30 seconds for Team PX7. So you see that timer at the top and bottom left of the screen here. That's the race timer. So at 7 minutes and 30 seconds, that means Team PX7 can go in there, take their pit stop, put some fuel in the car. Actually, go to Rodrigo's view, actually. Put some fuel in the car and get started on the race. That's just in time because I just finished my sushi. Perfect. Chompy, maybe gonna need to start typing a bit faster for these gaps. That's Rodrigo going in. Jump in the pits. Team's ready to fuel up the car. Probably doesn't need tires after just one out lap. Just a quick formation lap. Those tires should be just fine. Alright, that's Rodrigo out. 1.9 second gap to Bill Bader, racing for AMX, who just popped out here. Let's see, Chompy apologizing to Crispy Boy in the chat. I'm not sure if something happened there with the release. Cooper getting out there, gonna try to continue what teammate Originals was doing in the first stint. Very good first stint. The line of cars getting a little bit smaller. Sitting here has to be so hard to do. I can't imagine what these drivers feel like just waiting in line there. Nobody, oh, I lied. I was going to say nobody was released close enough for a battle, but here we are. Rodrigo already having to fend off TX3 Cooper as they go through the first chicane in the Mulsanne. Rodrigo in that 919, and Cooper also in a 919. I'm sorry, this is the Toyota. I'm doing great. Rodrigo's in the Toyota, and so is Cooper. I think, in fact, this is Bill Bader and Rodrigo. My bad. Sorry. I was trying to find out who is it that has the 911. I thought somebody took the 919. Did I just call it 911? We're doing great. Anyway, let's go back to this battle here. We got a few more people entering the pits. Marcelli, Crispy Boy, Racer Tay, finally getting their chance to put some fuel in the car. Bill forgot to take fuel. I did not even see that. Yes, Bill. Oh, what a bad way to start the stint. Man, everyone taking a full tank there. Bill Bader, unfortunately, jumped out. Well, Crispy Boy with a half tank, some sort of strat going there. Racing softs and a half tank of fuel. I think everyone's on softs, but yes, everyone is on softs, but half tank of fuel, trying to make that car lightweight. Gonna have to jump in. Still got people just now being able to get into the pits and get going. You still have bad guy Callie, Bizzle. You actually still have a lot of people who still aren't out here. Meanwhile, the leaders, oh, I thought I was at the leaders. I'm not at the leaders. Meanwhile, the leaders are starting to enter the last part of the track here. There were some back markers on the race. I believe Deffy overtook at least one back marker. So I would expect that these two drivers at the very least, ooh, Bill picking up a second penalty in the Porsche curves. The penalties are harsh here. Yep, Bill's gonna jump in, has to take that fuel, give Rodrigo first place back. Kind of a lucky break there for a PX7, though I would say maybe AMS had a much lighter car there. But we're gonna start seeing Cooper also passing through to lap everyone who hasn't started the race just yet. Yeah, 3 still waiting to go. Where does Bill come out? Bill is still in the pit, still fueling up. Man, that's gotta hurt. That's a long time to be in the pit. Yeah, a second pit definitely hurts. Gaining a couple of seconds does not make up for that at all. At all. So Bill is going to come out in 4th place and still has a second penalty to serve. But Crispy Boy way in the back. So Bill's got a lot of time to make up. 3.7 seconds to Nick. It feels like that timing is wrong, but it could be right. It's probably right, actually. I think Nick's release was much later. Did Danny's team leave altogether? Who was Danny's team? I can go back through the current racers if it helps. See if we got a fight between anyone. Cooper behind Rodrigo by 16 seconds, so there will be no battling for first just yet. In fact, Cooper, who is that in between? I thought I saw a car between. Yeah, there is. There's a back marker there that's gonna have to let Cooper through. Who is that? That is bad guy Callie. See some cars still in the pits just now getting their release. Team High Pre still in the pits in that Nissan. I always loved the Nissan prototype. I thought it should have gotten another chance at glory. I think it had an interesting strategy, and if it had actually worked, maybe could have done something at Le Mans with its and that is bad guy Callie off track there. Was that bad guy who just went off a little bit at Arnage? I think so. Wonder if it was from the past from Cooper. Could have been there, not sure. We didn't see what happened. And my keyboard isn't plugged in, so it's not gonna do anything. Sorry about that, that's my bad. Let's get that fixed. Let's get that going. Bill Bader, 1.3 seconds of penalty. Bill's gonna have to be careful with those track limits. They will and can ruin a race. Can and will ruin a race around here, especially with cars this fast. Having to slow down for an entire second is torturous. Your competitors will jump. That's Alpha Cypher. I don't know if they're warming their tires or what's going on there, but or John. That's John, rather. Yeah. No, that is Alpha Cypher. I don't know what's up with the camera. not camera, but the switcher is being kind of weird. Joey in the chat, cannot get in. Well, yeah, this is the race. So the race has started. You can't get in for that. We got a little battle going for not last here. Alpha Cypher making the pass though at Mulsanne corner. But they're gonna have to slow down for a penalty. And that will effectively give John the position back. John already starting to take it anyway, just on speed. Rodrigo still up front, 16.5-second gap to Cooper. Doesn't seem like that gap's getting smaller. Nick's gap to Cooper, 9.8 seconds, about 10 seconds there. So these drivers are effectively on their own for this stint. We're gonna probably start to see them mix up a little bit on fuel strategy. Nick, back behind bad guy Callie. So a back marker in between himself and second place there. It was Bizzle who went off. Was it? Hello, Tommy. You alright? Who's stuck? Chrissy Boy, it's a really good looking livery, that PPR livery. I like it a lot. That's our 919 driver. Marcelli in the R18. The R18 is great across a lap, but as you can see, it runs out of battery very, very quickly. Runs out of hybrid steam. So you're kind of always on the back foot driving that car, but it's a great handling car. And if you need to put together a qualifying lap, that's the one you take if it's a GR1 race. Around here at least. Bizzle, Team Renegade. Back behind Nick. You're right, that was Bizzle who went off, now that I think about it. Just following Nick around here, maybe trying to unlap so soon. Thanks, Vila. Whole teams ain't in the race. If they got stuck, we do one stuck check before the start of the race. If they got stuck, they're allowed to leave and come back after resetting network equipment. If they get stuck a second time, they can't join the race. We can't stop the race and wait indefinitely for people who have gotten stuck. So the team that you're talking about would have gotten a chance to get unstuck before the race started, but you only get the one chance. Alpha Cypher still not able to make that pass on John for not. I'm gonna keep an eye out of this battle because you never know. You never know. Sometimes you gotta go hard for not last. First place, or sorry, the early battle still going. That gap between Cooper and Rodrigo though, down 2 seconds. It was 16 seconds. It could be Rodrigo maybe trying to save a little fuel, running a slower stint, a slower pace in the stint just to get a jump in the pits. That's quite possible. I mean, you can go one of two ways. You're up front. You either run away with it or you use that leeway to save the car, save your tires a little bit so that you can live to tell another day. Or it could be that Cooper is very, very fast and is eating up that time. The third option is that Rodrigo made a mistake and we just missed it. Either way, that gap is down. Nick, still third place. Gap to Coop. A little bit shorter, still around that 9.5, 10-second mark. Gonna ebb and flow as we see here. Oh, I did not press a button, so yeah. It might be because my wheel is on. My wheel randomly presses up from time to time, so that's probably what's going on here. Bill Bader, fourth place. That really, really, really unlucky start. Bill Bader forgot to put gas in the car. in the pits, and so had to come back into the pits at the start of the race after starting in second place and actually getting a jump on first. Chompy warning Crispy Boy to serve their penalty before the Porsche curves. I think there may be a couple other people who need penalty serve warnings as well. Bad guy. Team ERS, how are you doing? Last lap was a 3:23. Personal best so far. We are only 3 laps into the races, the 4th lap. Personal best on that sector, so Bad Guy is flying and trying to get that car up to something of a competitive space. Not that being 8th place is bad. Top 10 in a race with some of the fastest North American drivers and European drivers in the world, in this game at least, is a pretty good place to be. 135 in that Audi. It's a very good looking livery on that Audi. I prefer the old R18s though. I really do. The old R18s from the diesel on up to the last hybrid before this one. Such a good looking prototype, which is, you know, not easy to come by because prototypes are ugly. Let's just put it that way. If you like road cars, prototypes don't look good to you. These prototypes are kind of cool, but the R18 is a particularly ugly one, this current model. The old one, chef's kiss, beautiful. But prototypes aren't worried about look so much as they are about aero. And so Audi made a lot of changes to the nose of that R18 and a lot of changes to the body just to increase the aerodynamic advantage. These are really, really cool cars, very high-tech, bleeding-edge stuff, and every year the manufacturers will make incremental changes to them to make them that much better. If you have never picked up a sports car engineering magazine, I implore you to do that. Hopefully they survived COVID. You know, publications don't typically do well in recessions, but Race Car Engineering magazine is an excellent place to learn about prototypes and the new changes about them every single year. You can disagree, Avalarian. You can disagree. There were stuck checks for the second race as well, Tommy. I was in the lobby. They did the stuck check. I remember, I believe, Joey got stuck? Someone got stuck. And they were allowed to come, leave, and return, except they had to start at the back of the race. So it's really bad luck. It does suck, but you know, network issues like that are treated like an engine failure in real life racing. You know, there's not much that anyone can do about it, and the race must go on. Rodrigo still blazing, setting their personal fastest lap just now, but Nick with the absolute fastest lap of a 3:17.2 just a couple laps ago. I wonder if that was when they were still behind. I think they were behind Bizzle, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe got a little bit of slipstream help there. Is anyone fighting? Anyone actively battling? Because that's what we want to see. Even though it is Le Mans, you don't usually get a lot of battles around in, what's this, an 8-mile track? Something like that. Very, very big track. And there's only so many cars that we can fit into a lobby. So not much of a crowd there. John down in last place. Alpha Cypher up to 10th. Wonder how that happened. Don't know if 135 maybe had a moment there, but yeah. John over here in last place alone in that Nissan. You can see a little bit accelerated front tire wear on that car. That is a front wheel drive Le Mans prototype, and it only got to race in one Le Mans race, and the program was scrapped, but Nissan wanted to jump back into Le Mans and wanted to jump back in at the top level in prototypes, and so they came up with a front-wheel drive hybrid prototype, and the whole idea behind it was that its trap speed, its top speed, would be the advantage that it had over the other cars. Le Mans, the circuit, La Sarthe, as you know, is like 80% straights. It's a lot of straight lines, and so you really want a car that's set up for that, and they figured they would get a car that, you know, dominated all the other ones down that straight and could compete in the race. But as you can see, with that front wheel drive, you also get accelerated tire wear in the front, and so you're going to end up with a lot of understeer in that car as you get later on in the stint. It just is what it is, and you try to make up for it in the straights. Just point it and squirt it. The problem with the car in real life, however, was that the hybrid component never worked. I think they were able to make it work for one test lap. I think, in fact, they did break the trap speed record with that test, but ultimately, the car didn't work out. It did very, very poorly in the one Le Mans race it entered because it was broken and only had, you know, 3/4 of the power, or a little more than half of the power that it was available to it, rather. And Nissan scrapped the program that Christmas, actually. It was just before Christmas, and in a text message, everyone who was working on that program found out they didn't have a job anymore. It was pretty sad. I wanted the car to work because I wanted to see something different at Le Mans. Not because I particularly like Nissan, not because I thought a front-wheel drive prototype was a good idea, but I thought it was really cool that somebody was trying it. This is Bad Guy Cali, and I think that's a back marker. Not sure who it is. Oh, it's not a back marker. It's Rodrigo, who is just past Bad Guy Cali. My bad. I couldn't tell who the car was. Oh, now I see the number 7. The order's pretty mixed up here. Penalty for Marcelli. Crispy Boy into the pits. Crispy Boy, as we saw, did not have a full tank of fuel at the start of the race, so Crispy Boy is going to go ahead and jump in and have to take fuel here. An interesting race strat. I don't know that it's going to work out. I don't think the stints are long enough to make it worth just going for shorter, faster stints with a lighter weight car. But we'll see how that works out for Crispy Boy. Bill is pushing hard. Hopefully that doesn't push him into a mistake. 135, beating their personal time in that sector by 8/10, or they're up on their lap time by 8/10 rather. Job there. Rodrigo's got that gap to Cooper back up in the 16-second range. It's just really, really killing in that Toyota. Not placing a single wheel wrong here. This stint, as you can see, got kind of a golden glow to the light on the track. That is the time setting for this lobby. All the lobbies are set to a different time. All the stints, rather, are set to a different time to try to stimulate the different time periods that you would see in a real Le Mans race. Of course, going from full daylight to twilight, and then, you know, you can't do every stage. We can't do sunrise and nighttime, but trying to simulate something. So this one is set to 2200 hours. It's 10 p.m. At least it should be. That could have changed. No one knows. Bill Bader, fastest in the first sector. Sorry, second sector there. Bill Bader definitely on a tear. A 3:16.409, fastest lap period for Bill Bader, trying to catch up. I feel it, Bill. You got it. You can do this. Oh my gosh, stop pressing up. 1 second, y'all. Let me see if I can just turn my wheel off. Thank you so very much, Thrustmaster, for everything that you have done with your crappy button pressing wheels. So I can't turn your wheel off. I'll just unplug it. Marcelli in the pits now. Gonna need to take fuel. It's a little bit shaky going into Indy there, but that's a really tough corner. Indy is so weird. It's so weird. You've got a very fast right-hander into a sudden braking zone for a left-hand hairpin. It's a hairpin. I think it's an acute angle. I'm pretty sure it's a hairpin. If it's not, it's damn near. It's a very, very slow left-hand turn. Actually, it's probably more like 90 degrees. But still, very tough corner to get your car stopped, slow down well enough to do it without disturbing the car. It's a tough place to be as Bill goes through the Porsche curves here. We're actually gonna jump in for an in-car view of the next lap, because Bill is obviously throwing him out there as fast as he can, hitting his marks, crosses the start-finish line here as he heads into the Dunlop chicane. Your first challenge on this very fast lap around a very long circuit. Do that using every bit of the track, as you can see here. These S's here, I can't remember what this part of the track is called, but Bill is in it. Looking really good. Wow, just purple again for that sector, which I thought this is probably, the car is in one of its most optimal setups right now. The fuel is going down. You got half a tank of fuel. Tire wear is there, but it's not that bad. It probably shouldn't affect the lap time. If anything, we know those tires are warm, and Bill is taking advantage coming down the Mulsanne straight. Gonna have to brake hard for the first chicane here, and late braking, but makes it work perfectly because Bill is a professional. No, the penalty. Bill did cut a bit. 1 second. That's going to hurt. Oh my God, purple again in that sector. But here we are. PD's track limits do not play around with Le Mans. I think they've changed the track limits a couple of times around here, and it's very tough to go incredibly fast without picking up a penalty, unfortunately. And Bill does pick up a whole second. That really sucks. Again, purple, but Bill's gonna have to take this penalty sometime soon. We'll stay on the lap with him. Avalarian, please. Even pros pick up penalties. Bill is a professional, okay? Him pro. Almost long corner, a little bit sketch. Dip that left wheel into the kitty litter just a little bit. You can hear it, but it doesn't seem to hurt too bad. Bill, really, just go for it. Just go for it. I don't know. Yeah, the timing of the jinx was really bad. Really just shouldn't talk about anybody anymore. Bill back into Indy. You'll see what I mean. Right-hander and then hard on the brakes for this left here. Oh, a little bit slidey. Bill makes it work, scrubbing rubber off those tires, and Bill has to take this penalty. It doesn't seem to be going away, I think because he was already in the braking zone. Unfortunately, braked a little bit early to try to get rid of that penalty, but it wouldn't go. There it goes now. That is the penalty zone. You must take the penalty before you hit the Porsche curves, which I really suck at, guys. I don't know why, but I'm so bad at the Porsche curves. I don't know how I'm doing. But Bill is going to do him well. Oh, that would have been an amazing fastest lap right there, just to really solidify that gap between himself and everybody else. Bill doesn't make it happen. Navigating the Porsche curves here. Coming into the last couple of corners. You're gonna see Bill pass the pit lane entrance right there, and then ooh, for these, what are these corners called? Do these corners have names? They should have names, right? There's no way that those two corners don't have names, but why don't I know them? Why don't I know them? Let's pull up a Le Mans map, since clearly we need it. Pick up a map of Lassard. Let's go back to cam view, TV view, and see who else has got something going on out here. I'd like to check that gap between Rodrigo and Cooper. 17.5 seconds. Rodrigo, in fact, sees another back marker to come up on Coop. I think Coop just purpled a sector. Pretty sure we just saw that. Don't know if that's going to translate into a fast lap or what. Not sure what Coop's plan is here. Race to Tay, Chrissy Boy sitting there with penalties. Marcelli chilling in P7 with that R18. Bad Guy Cali still out in P8. And we have Bizzle for Team Renegade. That Team Renegade livery we're all pretty used to here. Nice orange, green, and black situation. Alpha Cyphers got themselves up to 10th place after being in last. Trying to make something happen here. Big old ESGT logo on the side of that cockpit there, in case you weren't sure what this series was. Well, I guess it's a one-off race in this league, not a series. A Le Mans series would be fun. Well, Organizer Nate had an emergency, can't stay, it couldn't stay, but we should suggest that next year. Let's do a lead up to Le Mans, a WEC series, if you will, just to really up the stakes for this race. 135 in the pits. Really cool livery there. I love that Ocelot icon. The wait for fuel, the wait. It's so hard. It's so hard. It takes so long. YouTube, where have my comments gone? Ford chicanes was what I was looking for, by the way. I realized I never did get back to you guys about that. And I remember that now. Nick, also on a tear. First of all, Nick has taken the fastest lap. And now Nick has just put together a fastest sector. I think that was the final sector that was fastest. But the lap period, fastest. Bill not slowing down. Bill takes the fastest lap right back with a 3:15.6 as we switch to him. Sorry, Nick. Wow. Yeah, that's almost a second of difference there. 8/10 between the two fastest laps that we just saw get thrown down back to back. Well done by Bill. Bill really wants to catch up to the top three. I'm sure Bill wants nothing less than a podium position by the end of this stint. We'll see. There's still a lot of racing to go in this stint. We're in lap 11 of 34. So let's see. Let's take a look and see what else is going on down the track. Racer Tay does their personal best, 3:20.7 on that last lap, as they go through heading down towards Indianapolis corner. What do we have here? We have a lot of traffic going on. Crispy Boy, of course, not racing with John back there. John is a back marker. Ooh, Crispy Boy very squarely going into Mulzon corner. Somehow pull the car back out. I don't know if that was actual squirreliness or maybe a little weird lag, but Yeah, that didn't look good. No, it had to be actual squirreliness because now John is right up behind looking to unlap himself. I can't blame you. You got Marcelli in the background hoping something goes down between these two and maybe they could sneak in there and take 6th place. But I think this is going to stay clean. And Rodrigo now also in the mix. So traffic for both, ooh, Crispy Boy and John touch just a little bit there. Just a little touch right there on that Arnage. Rodrigo going to go through eventually, I'm guessing. Guess Rodrigo has to get a little bit closer. Crispy Boy going wide in the Porsche curves behind John there. Very easy to do. This, oh, all right. Crispy Boy is going to have to let Rodrigo get through, but Rodrigo has to be patient as well and go through when it's safe to do so. Crispy Boy slowing down to let Rodrigo through without losing too much time themselves. That's our race leader through. But man, what a bad moment there in the Porsche curves. I was going to say that it's a spot that relies heavily on your downforce. Very, very fast, sweeping corners, and if you're behind somebody following through, you just have to take it slower because you will not have the downforce behind them. They're punching a big old hole in the air, and you're right behind it, and you need that air flowing over your wings and your canards to have your full grip. If you don't have it, you have to drive accordingly. You need to drive like it's a low downforce car, basically. You drive more carefully, can't rely on that. Rodrigo also passed John, our last place back marker here. Marcelli is going to try to get that position back from John. It's not a positional change, but going to try to get the track position back there so they can keep running away from bad guy Cali in 8th. Coop, meanwhile, kind of benefits from that traffic. Is 16 seconds behind Rodrigo now. As we saw, remember that that gap had gone up to 17 seconds at one point. Rodrigo, again, dealing with traffic, getting a little tap in the Porsche curves while they tried to pass through Marcelli. Doesn't really work. Bill, what are you doing? How are you doing there? Bill with a slow last lap, half-second penalty here as well. Bill's last lap was a 3:16.3. The lap just before, a crazy 3:15.6. 3:16.3 is probably more on par for the laps they were putting together, though. So that 3:15 was insane. Marcelli back up to try to make this pass on John. If they are able to get close enough, John, being a back marker, should just pull over and let them have the pass easily. But of course, John doesn't have to do that until Marcelli is right there. And Marcelli has to wait until it is a safe place. You cannot simply pass wherever you want to or when you want to just because it's a back marker. You have to wait and be patient, and I know that's hard, but that's part of racing. That's part of endurance racing for sure. They gotta let you through, but you gotta wait for it. Coop coming up on a back marker, coming up on bad guy Cali here. Bad guy should let Coop go through very easily as they too start to approach Indy. And yeah, Coop through, continuing that fight, trying to get up to first place. I skipped over Bizzle. Bizzle, just lapping, just busy lapping, does a personal best of 3:20.9 on that last lap. That car getting faster for them. Might start slowing down now. We're starting to see some tire wear, but that fuel is pretty low, so should be nice and agile in that Renegade TS050. Speaking of the TS050, we saw Toyota take the win on their swan song there, their last Le Mans race being yesterday. How do we feel about the Toyota Le Mans wins? Especially after, was it 2016? Was it 2016 when they were so close to winning and the car broke with a lap to go? It broke with a little more than a lap to go, but you know, it was very close. I think it was 6 minutes, 30 seconds, something like that left in the race when we heard Kobayashi say, "I have no power." Probably one of the saddest radio calls I've ever heard in racing, quite frankly, because we thought Toyota had finally done it. We thought it was finally their time to make this happen, but it just didn't happen, unfortunately. Marcelli comes out of the pits ahead of Coop. Marcelli actually did not pit. I guess Coop just caught up to Marcelli there. So Coop gonna try to make this pass. Coop going very, very quickly. What are these lap times looking like? A 3:17 is their fastest so far, but they got a 3:18.6 last time. But they did have traffic to contend with on that last lap. Bill Bader, our fastest lap into the pits. How much fuel? A full tank of fuel for Bill. Again, just gonna try to rush that car around the track and deal with possibly slow pit stops, having to take a lot of fuel, but it is what it is. Got a lot of cars just around here. You got bad guy Callie holding up Nick. Not holding Nick up, but you know. That's Nick right behind, and then Bizzle way behind them. Just now coming through to try to get into, why can't I think of corner names anymore? To try to get into Tetra Rouge. So the pit stops starting to shuffle things around. Our leaders having to deal with back markers, and that's what's the other part that's exciting about endurance racing, is that it's not just about speed. It's not just about pit strategy. Sometimes it's about how well you get through the traffic. Unfortunately, there's not much traffic here. Really hope that on GT7 we get way bigger lobbies. You know, races like this, Nürburgring races, races at Spa, they really, really, really are something when you have 30, 40 cars on the track. I don't know that we're going to get 40 car lobbies in GT7, but let's double it and give us 32. Why not? We currently can fit 16 people in a lobby. We, of course, use up one slot for the commentator. That's me. I'm the cool kid who gets to be in here with all the racers. But in GT7, if we can get 32 slots, we'll have a 31 car field, or a 30 car field, and you have a commentator slot and a stewarding slot. The possibilities are endless. In fact, I almost forgot. We have a steward here. Chompy is here. So really, we only have space for 14 cars. Oh, Nick trying to make that pass. Ooh, 4. That's probably going to get looked at. Marcelli, you're not sure if Marcelli got driven wide there, or if Marcelli just chose to go very wide to let Nick through, as they were a back marker. But either way, Marcelli losing out there in the Porsche curves. Nick, a little bumpy coming into the pits. I don't know if you get penalties for hitting the walls there at this track, but yeah, you don't want to do that. And anyway, all our leaders are in. Cooper, Nick, Rodrigo. Those are our top 3. That's not the order they're in. They're Rodrigo, Cooper, Nick. But all 3 in. Rodrigo jumping out now, having fully pitted. Nick, as you see, just now getting tires and getting fuel in that car. So Rodrigo's going to get another big, big jump there. Cooper still fueling, still waiting. Oh, yeah. Let's take a look at what that gap is. I'm gonna wait for Cooper to actually pass the timing marker before I call out that gap, just to make sure it's accurate. Sometimes this game will change a gap up on you after you pass the timing marker. Let's just make sure. We got one coming up, I think, at Tetra Rouge, or just after. Cooper getting through there. Yes, that gap is guaranteed, or guaranteed. Certified, 18.8 seconds. Nick, right behind Cooper, though. Nick, looks like Nick fueled a little bit short. As you see, that's not a full tank of fuel. They're about 1/8 of a tank short of full, and that allowed them to get a little bit of a jump and get behind Cooper. And they may be able to make that up by simply staying behind in Cooper's slipstream and just saving fuel. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll see how that pit strat works out for Nick. Not a bad play to count the gap and know you know, when to stop fueling to come out right behind that competitor there. Really smart play. We'll see if it works out. Otherwise, you'll start to see Nick have to fall off of pace and save fuel, because they can't go as long as Coop can right now. We'll keep an eye on their fuel. That's the cool thing about esports, is that if I want to... Ooh, Coop, what are we doing? Coop goes wide in the second chicane, and that takes Nick's possible advantage away here. Nick's gonna have to let Coop go through, and Nick does. Nick knows that he needs Coop's slipstream. Nick didn't even try to fight that. Coop going inside to get into Mulsanne corner, and Nick just moves aside and lets it happen. I feel like we'll keep an eye out, by the way, on their fuel. Again, this is esports, so we can look and see at the end of the stint how even are those gas meters. You can see that in the bottom left of the screen here. That's Nick. That's Coop. Racer Tay in the pits. I think that's our last pit stop in this particular pit window, this particular stint here. Not for the whole 2-hour stint, I just mean just for this particular pit window. I said what I said. And I meant what I said. Rodrigo, our leader, with a penalty, but a 19-second gap over Coop. Coop losing a little bit of time when they went wide in that that chicane, of course. Nick, a little bit wide in the Porsche curves. We just talked about this. Nick taps a wall, but it doesn't look like it hurt too bad. Nick actually closing in on Coop in the curves there, in those curves. I wonder if Nick just doesn't have a more dialed setup than Coop, or I don't know. But Nick able to get through that easily. You know, I can't tell the difference between... Like, I don't know which one of these is the older Toyota. I feel like one is a TS040. Is it Nick, or are they the same car, but maybe Coop just has side beams on? Can I see? Yeah. Okay, no, same car. TS050, both of them, my bad. Nick just has high beams on. A little bit of a tap there from Nick, or Cooper has high beams on. Little bit of attack. Coop has to take a penalty, takes it, gets up behind Nick. And that's not where Nick wants to be. Nick does not want to be in front of Coop, but maybe they can take advantage of this slipstream ahead of them just now, but they're going to want to get around. This is this Marcelli? Yes, that is Marcelli in front of Coop here. Coop can take advantage of that slipstream, but it's gonna need to get around. Yes, and Coop flashing to let Marcelli know, hey, I'm gonna go around you here. Don't act surprised. Same car. Thanks, Valerian. I'm doing great. Did you guys tell me what you thought about the what the Toyota wins at Le Mans? How do you feel about them? I personally, I mean, I know this is, I don't know if this is a popular opinion or not, but I feel like it doesn't count. You had no competition. I think even with the equalization, the quote-unquote equalization of balance between Toyota and Rebellion, come on, you know? And I hate it for Toyota. I really hate it for Toyota that they finally got their Le Mans wins when they just didn't have any other competitors in the class. You know, they were the only hybrid car after Porsche left. It's going to be interesting to see if this new top Le Mans class, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, rather. We know we need a new top Le Mans class. We know, as usual, there's discussions and disputes about what the setup will be for the European version of this prototype and what it'll be for the American version. The racing needs of both regions being very different. Look at our leader, Rodrigo. Just chilling, enjoying life. Nick still way up ahead of Cooper. Nick probably trying to figure out, okay, how do I get Cooper in front of me without making it obvious that I need to get Cooper in front of me. And I think the only thing that Nick can really do is save fuel. You know, just if it means slowing down, then it means slowing down. But either way, you need to save that fuel. Maybe short shift that thing. Probably wouldn't play with fuel map, but I would at least start short shifting it. And if Cooper gets in front, then Cooper gets in front. Yeah, that's what it felt like to me, Avalarian. If the Lakers went up against a bunch of high schoolers. And it sucks. You know, it's the collapse of the LMP1H category is really disappointing. It really marked the end of an era, you know, of a certain type of LMP1, certain type of prototype, you know, that closed cockpit, sleek look. It was a really cool progression to see these cars go from, like, remember we were having Audi and Peugeot battles, and then Porsche jumped in, and you had Audi, Porsche, Toyota. The hybrid component got added, and the cars just got really, really crazy and amazing. Very expensive though, and you know, that meant that sacrifices had to be made. Unfortunately, I think Dieselgate just put Volkswagen on the back foot. Volkswagen had to cut costs, and so they cut Audi out of the racing program. And once Audi was gone, we knew the category was going to collapse, because there was no other manufacturer who was even remotely prepared to spend the kind of money needed to develop a car to do this. Nissan, of course, would have been our third if they had finished the GTR, but unfortunately, the LMGT, or the Nismo, which you see in the background there, just coming out of Mulsanne, didn't pan out, and so it didn't race after that first year. And so it's Porsche v Toyota. I think Porsche had 1 year left in their program. They took the win, and they packed up their things and left. Penalty for Marcelli. Remind me at the end of this race to see if... Oh, big slide for bad guy Cali there, just saving it. A little bit of oversteer, a lot of it of oversteer actually, but it was a very slow drift. Luckily, it didn't go all the way around on bad guy there. Time lost still for sure, but it could have been worse. Good job to try and keep the car together and keep it from going end over end on you here. Bizzle's had a really quiet race. Haven't really heard or seen much, nothing in the way of battles that I can recall. You know, it's got 51 seconds to the car ahead and over a minute to the car behind. Bizzle is essentially just lapping at this point to try and move the team forward for Stint 3. Alpha Cypher, another penalty. I feel like Alpha Cypher always has a penalty when we go to them. But hopefully they'll get that together. It's definitely not conducive to being not last, but they're not last, so sure. Love this camera angle, so I'm just gonna stay here because I really, really love it so much. If we're keeping it a buck, that cool Lola Lyrica livery. I think I'm saying that right. Should have told Callie to stay away from first gear. Yeah, that probably is what happened. You think the rear locked up on him going into the corner there? I am very good for downshifting way too quickly and locking up the rear end on the car. Or at least I was, until I started driving the Jaguar a lot. And I had to learn, because the Jag can use first gear. It's very usable in really slow stuff, like the first chicane at Monza. But if you grab that first gear too quickly, you will regret it. And the Corvette will do the same thing to you, but it'll do it in second. You can't grab second gear too quick in the Corvette, or you will regret it. John holding someone up here. Who's that behind John? That looks like, I can't remember their name. Racer Tay, right? Racer Tay just trying to get around here. John should be getting served with blue flags. Can't see any stewards on the track. Yeah, there we go. That blue flag and the blue flag light you saw there, just letting John know, hey, when you get a chance, you need to let the person behind you pass through. That would have been a nice place to do it. But it doesn't look like John is going to easily let Racer Tay by here. You gotta wonder when they are. Had an option to do so right there at Mulsanne, of course. Who is this? Bad Guy and Marcelli? Bad Guy, Marcelli? I want to see this fight, but I also want to see if Racer Tay is going to be able to make this pass around John easily. Racer Tay actually loses a bit of time to that Nissan coming into Indy, but then gets right back on. Of course, yep, there we go. John moves aside, lets Racer Tay go through at Larnage. John, I don't know if that was moving aside or missing the corner. It happened slowly, so it looked like they were in control, but that car picked up a lot of dust there, and they went really, really wide in the corner, so I don't know that that's what they really wanted to do there. Just, I'll just slow down a little bit early and giving Racer Tay the line instead of going out to that dirty stuff, getting those tires dirty just before heading into the Porsche curves. Not what you want to do. I really do like that livery on the R18. I don't know, just it makes it look decent, Avalarian. It makes it look decent. What's happening to you during the stint in the car? You had to immediately upshift to second after learning first gear does that to the rear. Yeah, you might be able to pick it up, but late in the braking, like just before hitting the apex. If you just need that one little bit of, you know, bit of engine braking to really tuck the nose in, you can probably grab first gear, but you have to wait pretty late to grab it in a lot of these cars, you know, to make it usable, or else it'll just throw you out. It'll just throw you off. Nick still up ahead of Cooper. Nick, of course, running through that fuel. Wonder how they're going to make this work. You think possibly after the next pit stop, maybe they'll short fuel again and try to get up behind Cooper, because they will have to pit before Cooper. There's no question there. You know, I don't know if they're going to try to undercut and maybe just fuel up just enough to have Coop come around and be out ahead of them. It'd be interesting to see what happens. But unfortunately, Nick's plan to just tuck into Coop's slipstream didn't last very long. I don't even think they made it 2 laps before Nick was in front by a lot. Crispy Boy, Crispy Boy, I like the name, but Crispy Boy has been doing really well to stay in 5th place. Just kind of, you know, has kept it, had a little bit of a drama with the back marker earlier, as we saw a little bit of drama going through, and drama going past Rodrigo, or getting Rodrigo past as well. But aside from that, been racing really well. They're gonna have to pit this time around, it looks like. So we're starting to see pit window open up for some of these cars. Everyone, of course, being on a slightly different strategy. But yeah, if I recall correctly, Crispy Boy has been filling up to halfway, if I'm not mistaken. So Crispy Boy on a completely different strat from anybody else in that 919. That was Rodrigo up front after having made that pass on a back marker there on Marcelli. I'm sorry, on 135 rather. Coop flies off into the distance, drives off into the sunset. Did I say Coop again? You know I mean Rodrigo. You guys know who I mean. You know who I mean. Coop on Nick, 2.5-second gap. I feel like that gap is closing. It's 2.7 now, 2.8. So maybe I spoke too soon. But we did see that Coop was really quick in the Porsche curves when they were directly next to each other. If you recall, Coop had put up a little bit of gap on Nick going into the curves, and by the end of them, Nick was right up on Cooper's back bumper there. So I think Nick is just better through the Porsche curves than Coop is, and it could be, you know, driving skill. It could be set up on these cars, very fast corners. Your setup is really important in the Porsche curves. So is what it is. Another warning from the steward for someone to serve their penalty. Let's see what that message was. I missed the name. Marcelli, serve your penalty, right? Marcelli comes out right behind bad guy Callie, and I'm not showing penalty on that car anymore, so looks like they served it. What are they going to be able to do? This will be interesting to see, because if you look, bad guys still got plenty of battery power as they head into the Mulsanne straight here. They're going to go through Tetra Rouge and then go into this fast straight. So let's watch that gap and see if it increases, because Marcelli's car has no hybrid power. What, you know, barely. There's a little sliver of green there, probably after braking for Tetra Rouge, but bad guy Callie regenerating battery force right there and braking, as you saw. Marcelli as well, just a little bit less. Marcelli using that hybrid power to come out of the chicane, and actually is coming out of the chicane better than bad guy. So maybe the R18 is generating just enough hybrid power to at least get him out of the corners. If you don't know how this all works, on these cars, the hybrid battery pack powers the front wheels, essentially making the car all-wheel drive. However, it only powers them in slow corners, like coming out of the chicanes, as you saw there. So that's where you use most of your battery power there, and then it cuts off, and the car is rear-wheel drive for, you know, until the next corner, basically. And on braking, these cars regenerate battery power with regenerative braking, like your mom's Prius. It's actually all really, really neat. I definitely recommend learning everything you can about these hybrid race cars. They're some of the most advanced race cars ever built. They're really cool, and a lot of the technology used in Le Mans hybrids or Le Mans prototypes period does actually make its way to the road cars that you drive every single day, you know, which is something that's not that prevalent anymore in a lot of racing, certainly not at very, very top levels of racing. But I can say that Le Mans prototypes, LMP1 prototypes at least, are the best car that lives up to the name prototype, in my opinion. A prototype is used as a test bed. It tests things, it tests technology, and these cars test technology that actually make it into road cars. That's really cool to me. If you have LED headlights, like, you owe it to an Audi LMP1. If you have LED headlights on your car, a lot of this hybrid power you owe to them. Audi and Volkswagen's continued diesel dominance, even with Dieselgate, you owe to the Audi diesel LMPs. Rachel up in 5th now, ahead of Chris Dubois. I think that pass was made in the pits. They are on different pit strategies, though. Of course, in fact, Racete is going to have to pit, and that's going to give Chris Dubois that position back. Most likely, it's a 32-second gap between the two of them, but I think the pit window is longer than 32 seconds if you are taking full fuel. It looked almost like Bizzle was coming out of the dirt there, or maybe they just dipped a tire. It looked almost like they were coming back onto track, and we just caught them while they had picked up speed, but not sure if something happened there to Bizzle, but Bizzle with a big penalty to serve, so it's quite likely that they went off track. You use first just after the Indianapolis curve. That is Larnage, and yeah, I could see using first there depending on the car you're in. 135. Social in 11th place there. 47.7 gap to John, who is in 12th place. 7.5 minutes behind the leader, actually. So that's a couple laps down. So they're not really in the fight for this race right now. But still racing along. It's good because, I mean, it's sportsmanship, right? You continue the race, and plus you never know what might happen to another competitor. I have had races that looked like it was the end and there was nothing I could do and I was just gonna have a terrible finish, and then a miracle happens up ahead of me and I'm passing, you know, my competitor or somebody, or maybe a couple of them on the side of the road as I continue on. So you never give up, no matter what a race looks like. It's not over until you cross the start-finish straight. Rodrigo starting lap 21 of 34. So we are a little over, about 2/3 of the way through this race, actually. Almost 2/3 of the way, got one more lap for that. But we're almost done with this particular stint on the race. Coop right up on Nick now. It's a 3.2 second gap between the two of them. I'm sorry, that's not Nick ahead of Coop. That's Racer Tay, isn't it? I thought so. I said the timing's not right. That's not a 3.5 second gap. Yeah, Nick's up there ahead of them. My fault. My fault. Gets a little confusing, you know. They were going through the S's. I got a little confused. Nick getting low on that fuel there, but yeah, we're gonna see what Nick does on that next pit stop. They're gonna have to take ahead of Cooper here. Bill, meanwhile, if you recall, Bill started in second place, had to take a whole extra pit stop, and put together some really juicy laps. In fact, I didn't even see it on lap 18 just a couple laps ago. Bill again matched his best time of a 3:15.65, making it exactly same lap time as they did in lap 13. So Bill is not trying to slow down. Bill's trying to catch up, and it's paid off. Bill's only 7.3 seconds behind Coop. Now Coop has a lot more fuel, so Coop's going to be able to stay out longer than Bill. Tire wear is about the same, but yeah, Bill is very low on fuel. Bill is on the same strategy that I would guess Nick is on. So I would expect to see these two fuel together. Nick and Bill. Bill again with a penalty, though. I know these penalties have to be killing his attempt to get back up into podium contention here. I know Bill just wants to put his team in a really good place for the next stint, even if not right on in a podium spot, just, you know, not so far away from first place anymore. Bill is currently, and Bill's off. He's off in Indy. We talked about how hard Indy is, and Bill, Billiam, what is this? Bill off in Indy, gonna have to kind of crawl through Landage there with those dirty tires. That's really gonna hurt. That 7.3 second gap, now 15 and a half and counting. And the wants to worry about, though, that's the gap Bill wants to close, is that 37 gap to first. So that his teammate on the third stint is able to start as close as possible to first place and get into the pits and get out of the pits. Who is that who just went wide out there? Was that Crispy Boy? That's Crispy Boy messing up our Larnage. Looks like it was an actual moment with Marcelli waiting there and giving the position back. So really good sportsmanship there. Obviously just an incident or racing, an accident between them. Good thing this is just esports, because that looked like it would have been a really big hit to take in real life. Obviously it's digital. Crispy Boy is okay. If he's racing on a wheel, hopefully he got his hands out of the way. But actually, you know what? Gran Turismo Sport doesn't tend to kick your wheel very hard when you crash or anything like that. Not like real life. So that's okay. We saw John in the background there goes really wide in the last S. Just a thing that happens. Marcelli dipping into the pits. Gonna fuel up now. Pardon me, I yawned and I didn't mute my mic. That I was gonna see if Bizzle would get a chance to get ahead of Marcelli as Marcelli's in the pits, but Bizzle's pretty far behind. Bizzle is just now getting through the Porsche curves. Let's see what happens. Marcelli, yeah, Marcelli fueling now. What took so long? I think the pit window is just very long, that pit delta going through. So actually Bizzle probably will get through ahead of Marcelli. It's passing pit entrance now. Marcelli still fueling. They let the car go. He comes out ahead of Bizzle, well ahead of Bizzle. Okay, Bizzle still had the Ford chicanes to navigate, so yeah, Marcelli gets to keep 8th place there. Back of the track, not looking very exciting. Nick with a penalty. Gonna have to take that, slow down. I think that's the first penalty we've seen on Nick's HUD all race, if I'm not mistaken. Coupe, that gap, still 3.5 seconds. It's not, it's a 1/10 smaller, but you know, that doesn't mean much. Bill, a purple sector. And still a penalty. I don't know if that's the same penalty as before or if it's a new penalty. But I've seen Chompy warning drivers to take their penalties before the Porsche curve. So if it's a new one, I expect that Bill will take it soon. As he's now entering Indy again, where he just crashed the last lap. This time navigates it perfectly. Well done, Bill. Purple sector again. So Bill really can turn it on when he needs to make up time. As you can see, a big crash in that last lap there, and now he's beating his own sector times, his own best sector times, just trying to get back up to the coupe, trying to make that gap up. Bill's been working really hard to make up that gap, so it does really suck to see him fall off there, and after working so hard to get closer to coupe and closer to the rest of the start of the pack. A little bit slow through the Porsche curves, or at the beginning of the curves. You saw that was 2.5 tenths down on that last sector time, and goes wide and picks up more penalty. Oh, Bill. Bad guy Cali. Who you chasing? Oh, you're not chasing anybody. That's a back marker. That's not Racer Tay. Yeah. That's Marcelli, it looks like. Nope, that's not Marcelli. 135 then? 135 was the other, yes. Going through the Ford chicanes there. Very slow, very tricky chicanes. Those sausage curves that you see on the inside are epic. You should not try to use them. It's never worth it. Certainly not in these cars. Not cars as stiff as these. Bad guy Cali gets around 135 there in the Dunlop chicane. Rodrigo has never had to fight for this position. Just like teammate Defson in the first stint, Rodrigo started this race in first, did lose it to Bill for a second, but then Bill had to pit, and ever since then, Rodrigo hasn't seen another soul outside of back markers that they're passing. So yeah, why did Bill make an extra pit stop? Bill forgot to put fuel in the car at the start of the stint. So at the start of the stint, did a formation lap, and then the cars lined up at the pit entrance, and the steward called out the time for them to enter the pits, take their fuel, and go out for their lap. Bill going purple again right there. Bill went in to the pit stop and forgot to take fuel, and so made that jump for first place, but then of course didn't have enough fuel in the car, and so had to immediately jump back in as the race settings start the race with just enough fuel to make that first lap, maybe a second. I saw Bill was able to make a second. Purple again for Bill. What is this lap about to be? Because Bill is killing these lap times. Now he is probably going to get in trouble about this penalty, but it doesn't matter because for the content, fast laps. Down to second gear for Indy there, and then a very fast jaunt into Larnage again, hard braking, keeps it in second for Larnage. I think somebody came in here and said they take first for it. Depends on your driving style and your car. That was purple again for that last sector there. So this is probably going to be a fastest lap for Bill if he doesn't mess it up. Knock on wood, commentator's curse. I think I just did that. That's my bad. Oh, and a little bit of a slide going into Porsche. Actually, I don't know if that was a slide. I think he just tosses it in there like that. Yeah, I think he just tosses it in. So never mind. Bill, surf penalty before Porsche curves. Well, Chompy a little late with that message. Bill was already well in the middle of the Porsche curves with that penalty. Bill is going to have to serve it now. Damn it, Bill. Why didn't you give us the fastest lap first? Oh, because you're out of gas. So we wouldn't have got a fastest lap anyway. Alright. Okay. That's fine. He's out of gas anyway, y'all. That is such a trippy camera angle right there. The chase cam, you see how the car pivots because the camera is stuck fast to the center of the rear bumper. So the car just kind of pivots from that point for you in this view, and it's so weird. I don't remember if it was like that in previous Gran Turismo games. Chase cam used to be my go-to in early Gran Turismo games. Early for me was like GT3 and 4. I didn't start from the very beginning. But I don't know, chase cam seems so weird to me now, but I know a lot of people still racing it. Some fast people still racing it. But it's odd. That pivoting throws me off when I'm lapping. Top three are 3 minutes and 11 seconds ahead of everyone else. Top four? Yeah, top four. Bill's in there. And then from Bill is pretty much, or almost an entire lap to the next car, Racer Tay. Bill is on the Mulsanne straight at the beginning of the Mulsanne straight. Racer Tay is at the end of the Mulsanne. In fact, just ended it. And, no, I'm sorry, it didn't just end it. On the last bit, sorry, that was the chicane. So yeah, Racer Tay on the lap behind Bill on the same part of the track, basically. Alpha Cypher has been in 10th since the very beginning of the race. Our race leader is in the pits now. I don't expect any drama from that pit stop. No one's even close enough to take it from him. So I expect that he'll get out quickly. But Alpha Cypher been in 10th for most of this stint and had Had to fight for it in the beginning, but got it and has kept it. 135 and John have not been able to catch back up. In fact, 135 is a minute 51 seconds behind Alpha Cypher at this point. So about half a lap, a little less than half a lap behind. And John is further behind there. What was that? It's John and Marcelli. Not sure if Marcelli just went wide, messed themselves up there. I think Marcelli was ahead of John, and whatever just happened. So Marcelli gonna have to get back around the back marker here. Nick in the pits with 0 fuel left. Gets in. I was wrong, by the way, about Rodrigo's pit stop. He did have not enough of a gap to keep Coop from taking first place, but Coop is going to owe a pit stop very soon here. And Rodrigo's only 5.5 seconds back, so effectively Rodrigo is still in first place. Nick, meanwhile, 27 seconds behind Coop. So that's the gap to them right now. And Nick took, looks like fuel to the end, which makes sense. Doesn't need a full tank to the end. We'll see what happens when Coop jumps in a couple of laps and fuels up and gets back out there. We'll see where they end up in relation to Nick. We'll see if that short fueling from before worked out in Nick's favor. Bill with a huge 1.8 second penalty. I don't know what happened. I don't know where or how he picked that up, but that's the penalty. Crispy Boy goes for that pass on John. The back and forth has to be pretty frustrating, but honestly, Crispy Boy has the speed, the pace to get past John and run away. The fact that they aren't is due a lot to mistakes, and that's where consistency comes in, right? It doesn't matter how fast you are. It doesn't matter what your pace is. Like we said, Crispy Boy is quicker than John, I think. Crispy Boy is lapping... Actually, maybe I lied. Crispy Boy's lap time's around, you know, the 20-something mark. He got 22 at the fastest on this tree that we can see right now. Whereas John... How do I get to John's person? John is in 12th, right. John's lap time's a little bit more consistently towards the 23 to 24 end of the spectrum. So, I don't know. It looks like Marcelli's... not Marcelli. What? Crispy Boy. Get back to Crispy Boy. Thank you. So, Crispy Boy might be a little bit slower on the lap, but I still think it's mostly mistakes. Even causing those slow laps. I've just seen a lot of times where these two are together and it's, you know, Crispy Boy having a moment on track or something. Maybe I'm wrong. Coop in the pits and gets out ahead of Nick. But Nick is right there and coming up fast and closing very quickly through Dunlop here. 1.8 seconds is the gap here. Coop took a little less fuel than Nick did. Coop maybe under fueling a bit. We'll see. Coop trying the same strategy that Nick did on that last stint. And now we have a real battle for second place here. I think if Nick can close that gap up and get into Coop's slipstream, we'll have a real battle over the next 8 laps. Oof. You love it. I love it. What is that track on the side of Coop's car there? What track is TX3 representing? Ooh, Coop. I'm not sure if that's a cut. It may end up being a penalty. I did see Coop dive back in inside the line. So yeah, it looks like not a cut there. Coop getting in there. What is that? What is that track? Bill Bader, 20 seconds to Nick. And a penalty, 20.5 seconds. So, and 42 to first. So Bill, if anything, losing 5 seconds on that gap that they had slowed, that they had gotten smaller. Why you do this, Bill? Mistakes were made. Marcelli going up under the iconic Dunlop bridge there. What happens when Dunlop decides it doesn't want to sponsor that bridge anymore? Am I gonna have to call that thing like the Goodyear Bridge, the Richard Mille Bridge? Like, I say just tear the whole bridge down. Tear it down. If Dunlop says they don't want to sponsor it anymore, tear it down. And nobody can walk across the track at that point. And that's just that. Period. Marcelli comes right up on the back of that Nissan in the chicane there. You can see the Nissan dealing with an extreme amount of front tire wear. And of course, just being the layout it is, it's just slower in the twisties. But then in the straights, as you can see, it just runs away. It's just like, all right, didn't do great there, but bye. Even in the slipstream, Marcelli Crispy Boy just not able to get past that Nissan in the straights there. Nissan again just leading away from him, even in slipstream as they head into Indy. But you'll see right here under braking, Crispy Boy will be able to close that gap right back up. And you would think that Crispy Boy would be able to use that to dive into the inside and get a corner and get ahead at some point, but it just doesn't seem to work. John letting them by there. We'll see if Crispy Boy is able to keep that this time. It's been a lot of back and forth. Rodrigo looking good. Honestly, at this point, it's his stint to lose. Hasn't done anything wrong in this entire race. Has not ruined the lead given to him by teammate Defson. He's just kept it cute. And I can appreciate that. Coop gapping Nick. If you recall, after the pit stop, Nick had closed up on Coop 1.5 seconds. That gap is now 2.6, and it's growing. I think you can see the acceleration there, just that straight line acceleration. I think Coop's car being a little bit lighter than Nick's is definitely helping, but that doesn't account for the 3/10 that we just watched Nick lose in a straight. Nick with a penalty, probably from further back, since it's 0.4 instead of a 0.5. So maybe something happened to Nick. But that Coop again is growing. Maybe it is. Like, what is going on with Coop's car? What is this top speed? Like, the time gap between Nick and Coop at the end of these straights is just shooting up. It's crazy. See if it happens again here as they head into Mulzana corner. That tough hairpin, you got a kink, and just after you make that kink right there, you go hard on the brakes for this turn here. Uh-oh. Cooper just a little bit wide, which lets Nick catch up. Time gap going down for a moment, and now it's growing again. Is Nick short shifting or something? No, it doesn't look like it. It's just crazy how much speed Coop is able to pick up to run away from Nick in these straights. And that gap now 3.6 seconds from the time we jumped to this battle. Nick takes his penalty there, knows he has to before Porsche does it. Bill has served his penalty. Crispy Boy. 0.1 second penalty, not too big a deal here. John was nowhere to be seen in that frame with Crispy Boy though, so did John have a big moment and mess up? Because they were right there with Crispy Boy. I suppose it doesn't necessarily matter, but just interesting to see. Maybe just the bridge. I don't like it. I don't like it, but you know, I could probably live with just the bridge. I could, maybe. So basically the plan is to just not get a new sponsor for it. I'm into it. Coupe, penalty, not a big one. Not a big one. It might give Nick a chance to jump back up. That gap has gone down to 2.3, so maybe that penalty comes from something happening to Coupe. I don't know how we keep missing all the things happening to people. I'm trying to see all the cars, but I wish that I could just get, like, I wish I had a spidey sense that would just tell me, hey, someone's about to slide out. Quick, switch cameras to them. But I don't. I don't have commentator's spidey sense. Or I guess really that would be the camera director. I don't have camera director spidey sense. Oh, Nick picking up a second penalty, a 1 second penalty, which is also their second penalty since we started watching over in the first chicane here. So at some point, Nick's gonna have to slow down for an entire second. It's the last thing that you want to see. There's not that much racing left. It's a very long track. Yes, but we're on lap 28 of 34, and you are within sight of second place. What do? Well, if you're Nick, you get really, really excited and probably take a little bit too much speed through the first chicane and pick up a 1 second penalty. Honestly, same, Nick. Same. I feel it. I feel it. It's me. Okay? It's so hard to stay composed when you are really close to a competitor and you know you have to push to get that position, or at least get close to it, or somebody's behind you. There's so much pressure. Racing is so mental, especially when you have these longer endurance races. Even though it's digital, even though you don't feel the heat of the car, you don't feel the G-forces on your body, it's still hard to concentrate lap after lap after lap and do them well, and not make mistakes when it counts as you get towards the end of the race. It's just one of those things that you have to practice. You have to take these, you have to make these races, you have to do long races, and you know, practice on keeping your focus, stay hydrated. Definitely eat, don't be hungry, use the bathroom before you go to the race. You don't want to be distracted at all. Make sure your chair is comfortable. Alright, set your force feedback. It's something that you can fight and wrestle with and feel good with for the entirety of the race, because you want every advantage over your competitors that you can get. You basically want to be as perfect as you can, the same way that you would in a real race. Coupe, why are you letting Nick catch back up? Was it 3.5 second gap after Nick took that penalty, and it's now a 2.5 second gap. Nick with another penalty though, half a second, so maybe Nick's just pushing like crazy to get to Coupe, but is it worth it if you have to slow down once a lap because of a penalty? No, probably not. Again, at the end of those straights, at the end of every straight, Coupe just ekes out another 3/10, 3-4 tenths on Nick, and it's insane. It's insane. And it doesn't seem to be a corner exit thing. I don't think Nick or Cooper's just getting better exits from out of these corners. I think he's just able to hit a much higher top speed than Nick is. Oh, wait. Tuning's allowed in this, isn't it? We talked about that. So, you know, it's probably just Coop's tune. Probably running very low downforce. Makes sense. It's Le Mans. I think we've solved the mystery here. Nick just, or Coop just literally has less drag than Nick does. Forgot tuning's allowed. It's been such a long time since I've been in a race where tuning was allowed, and definitely since I've commentated on one, that I forgot it was a thing and that it could differentiate your top speed even on these straights. Of course, as you see at Le Mans, top speed is what you want. Most of this track is just this. Going fast, going straight. See 135 negotiating that second chicane there. Funny enough, those chicanes were added in the 90s, was it? Or maybe late 80s. But they were added because the top class, the top prototype class, Group C, the cars were just getting way too fast. They were picking up enough speed to flip the cars over at the end of the Mulsanne. Shout out to Mercedes. And so the FIA and the ACO decided it was time to put chicanes on the Mulsanne and slow these cars down. Probably a sad day for racers everywhere to see the Mulsanne go from being probably, I think, the longest straight in racing to one that was cut up into 3 pieces. But today's prototypes actually exceed the speed of the Group C cars. Even with the chicanes, they go faster than Group C cars now. They are, of course, way safer. So, you know, they carry way more downforce. The cars don't flip over at those speeds. They're able to brake for the corners much, much better. But the technology that's been put into these cars to allow them to exceed the speed of cars that aren't that much older in 1/3 of the space is crazy. It's crazy. Why are we still watching 135? Sorry, 135. I put you on TV, and I put you on TV for so long. Chrissy Boy into the pits for their last pit stop. Chrissy Boy, of course, being on a stranger pit strategy than anybody else. Pitting in 7th place here. I don't think anyone else still has to pit, but let's double check. Let me make sure that before I lie to y'all. No, Chrissy Boy is the last one to pit. 135 in for fuel. Okay, I did not think that 135 needed fuel, but maybe, you know, maybe I was seeing something wrong. I don't know. I don't know. Bill, half a second penalty here. Been a while since Bill hit their fastest lap. They dipped into 315s a couple times there, lap 24 and lap 22, but it's been a while since they've even dipped into 315s. So I think Bill, not necessarily on that same tear that we saw him in before, when he was trying desperately to catch back up to those podium slots. And now, I've been talking for a very long time, and I'm gonna take a sip of water. I'm just let y'all watch some racing. just so y'all know, this is not a battle for position. This is Crispy Boy, and behind is 135. So again, not a battle for position, just Crispy Boy making a pass on 135 there. I was just about to say that it doesn't look like Nick is gonna be able to catch back up to Coop, because that gap is stayed at 3.5 seconds. But then Coop makes a mistake at Mulzon there, and it reminded me that the race ain't over till it's over. At this gap, it will only take one big mistake from Coop to put Nick right up there in second place. I'm not saying I want this to happen to Nick. All I'm saying is that the reality is the race ain't over till it's over. Let's see what Bill's doing. Bill knocks out a 3:14.9 a couple laps ago. I wasn't really paying attention. A 3:14.9 9, sir? From where? From where? From where? Like, did you just cut an entire corner? Was there just like an entire corner that you just did not do to find that time? Questions that need answers. If someone could please DM Bill and ask him, tell him to pause and put the response in the chat. Just pause, Bill. It's fine. It's fine. Let the computer try. 2:14.9. Blue flags for a back marker, whoever that is, up ahead of Marcelli there. Is it? Oops. Boop. Back in. Rodrigo! 1 second penalty. It's not going to hurt at all. This is the closest thing to a battle we have on track. It's not really a battle. It's just John and Marcelli behind John. Again, not a fight for position. Marcelli is, I believe, a lap ahead of John, at least 1 lap. So, yeah. John getting waved the blue flag there. John lets Marcelli pass through pretty neatly. Hopefully Marcelli can keep it. We'll see. Coop, meanwhile, losing a little time to Nick. 2.9 seconds there is the gap. Growing, of course, because they're in a straight. It probably will grow as they get towards Indy. But it's yo-yoing. But we're on the second to last lap, and I just don't think Nick has the pace to catch up and stay caught up. I think it'll be Cooper's position to lose. I don't think Nick can go after it. Here we are in the Porsche curves where Cooper loses a lot of time to Nick. Again, we've identified it as probably a downforce thing. Nick probably just running way more downforce than Coop. So you'll see that gap go down. But Coop, as soon as they hit the straights, Coop is gone and makes that time right back up. And that goes to show you that when you are setting your car up for Lassard, you are setting up a Le Mans car. You set that thing up for straight line speed and don't worry about the rest. Podium Lobby 3 is up. Can't wait to see that race. Cool. Personal fastest on that last lap. Makes sense. There's no fuel in that car. Coop timing the strategy straight to the end. That should be how it is for all of these cars. They should all be sitting on empty. If anyone has fuel in their tank, they did something wrong. Racer Tay, Bad Guy Cali, Crispy Boy, Marcelli, Bizzle, Alpha, 130. Basically, everyone past 4th place still has way too much fuel in their car, meaning they put too much fuel in, meaning their cars have been way too heavy for at least the last stint, probably for the entirety of the race. And that is often the difference between experience and not. As you can see, that gap between 4th Bill Bader being 45 seconds. At one point, that gap back to 5th place was way bigger. But Rodrigo comes in first. Cooper is going to cross the line here after coming out of that last chicane. And then Nick for your top 3. That is your podium today. A really good fight for them. Unfortunately, things didn't work out for Nick with that short pit strat, that short fuel strat. It should have worked. I would have been interested in seeing it work, but just mistakes that were out of his hands happened there, meaning he didn't get the slipstream he needed to save the fuel. Comes in 3rd. Bill Bader serves that penalty to come in 4th. And Racer Tay is finishing up the curves now and will come in to round out our top 5. That's the end of your race, y'all. How do you feel? I mean, we still have some cars to come in, but I mean, you know, they're gonna come in. Actually, let's watch. Let's watch. Let's make sure nobody just completely crashes in the Ford chicanes and loses a position. We'll start with Bad Guy. Bad Guy going through the chicanes now. Careful not to hit those sausage curves. They're huge and they will murder you. Bad Guy across the line safely in 6th. We're gonna wait on Crispy Boy here. We got a while. Crispy Boy's just coming out of Larnage, just entering the Porsche curves here. Dipping into the dirty parts of the track. Probably not great for grip there, but that is Crispy Boy's line, and that is what Crispy Boy does. So Crispy coming through the Porsche curves, looking really, really fast in that Porsche. Of course, they're named after Porsche, the most winningest team at Le Mans. Nobody's won more races. Maybe one day that'll change. We'll see. But whoever's next has a long way to go. And Crispy Boy comes in 7th place, crossing the line. We're going to see Marcelli crossing right in front of Bizzle here for 8th and 9th place. Alpha Cypher's going to get to cross the line one last time. 135 and John, too many laps behind. It's going to go ahead and end the race for them. And it looks like even Cypher did not get to actually finish the race before the timer ran out. But here we are. Rodrigo with the commanding lead in the 2nd stint here. Kept that lead just like Defsun did in Stint 2. So we're going to see how Stint 3 goes for this team. I'm going to end the stream. I am not the streamer for Stint 3. That is, I think it's Chompy, actually. So Chompy will come in here and commentate. Of course, the stream will restart after stuck checks in lobby number 3. So just bear with us, give us a couple of minutes. Basically, lobby 3 has started. We wait on all the drivers. Most of them should be in there already. But for Stint 2, we did have to wait on a couple of drivers. So if we need to wait before we can do stuck check, that'll happen. But in just a few minutes, stay right here. The stream will come back. Thank y'all for watching. We appreciate you. You're the best of the non-aliens. Hey, listen, that is real. That's a position to strive for. It's me. Because these aliens are ridiculous. Alright, let's get out of here. Thank y'all for watching. See you later.